Hello guys, let's get started here with our next episode of the walkthrough. So, we're gonna go ahead and run up here to finally escape the undead asylum. That took forever, but it was worth it. So, long and boring cutscene. I've always thought that the dialogue was a little too far away in these cutscenes. But, oh, there's a crow. It's gonna go ahead and grab us and take us to Lordran, which is basically where most of the game takes place, but you can get back here if you know where to go, which I'll show you later. So apparently we're on pilgrimage. Interesting. So we're going to Lordran, as I already said, where we can level up, kindle, and do all sorts of things with bonfires, but the entire land is pretty much infested with undead, like us, but they've all gone crazy from lack of things to do, pretty much. So, it's basically a land full of zombies. Now, if that doesn't sound fun, what is? So here's Firelink. It's the only safe point in the entire game, really. It's where most of the NPCs in the game come when you rescue them. So you don't have to go traipsing through the catacombs to talk to Nito or something. No, that's not right, but yeah. Same principle. So in the meantime, we can level up and kindle at bonfires. We'll do that later. This is the Crestfallen Warrior. It's his job, basically, to give us advice and hints when we need them. So, apparently, according to him, it would have been better if we just stayed in the Undead Asylum. But we're here now, so he's just going to go ahead and help us out, because he doesn't have anything else to do. So he's going to help us out a bit. There's actually 2 Bells of Awakening. So, one's up the stairs to the right, and one's down, but it's not the stairs to the left, although you can go there if you want to skip one of the areas of the game, and half of Blight Town. But that's not recommended, because you'd miss a large chunk of the game. So, yeah. So, apparently we're going to go adventuring now. You can see the stairs over there, that's the way right up to the Undead Parish. So, let's go find Petrus. He is the miracle dude, and he sells you divine spells, which is very useful if you want healing spells or buffs or stuff like that. At first he might seem a little unfriendly, but if you talk to him again, he'll offer you a useless item and then be your friend, and then talk to him again and he'll teach you some divine spells and also sell you talismans.
But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will.
So apparently he does want to be your friend after all.
As a token of peace. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's for you.
Apparently it's for us. Oh, happy day. So we get a copper coin now.
Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await.
So he's now going to teach us miracles because he's awaiting his friends.
Some miracles. Would that please you?
So yeah. So you just answer yes here. I don't think anything bad happens if you say no. So this is your first covenant. You don't really need to worry about it because we're already in this covenant.
Now, let me share my miracles.
So he's going to share us his miracles. So your faith stat is required to boost them up. And you might need better talismans if you want to use them in late game too. But these are ridiculously overpriced. The only one you can buy only makes more messages show up. Don't buy either of these. You can find one really close. I think I'm going to show you that one later.
Come again.
So let's just go ahead and run back down to the bonfire and actually spend some of those 2,000 souls we got, which as you can see isn't really all that much. But first, let's show you the new gesture we got. It's a shrug. Yeah. So, now that we're here, let's go ahead and run down to the bonfire and level up a bit. So kindling and reversing hollowing I'll talk about more later when humanity is more important. So let's go to level up and we'll explain some of the stats. There's your name, your level, this total souls you have, the required souls to level up, how much HP you have, how much stamina you have, how much equip load, any more than your maximum would cause you to not roll at all, your damage stats of the weapons you currently have equipped, So yeah, there's your defense against most attacks, your defense against magic attacks, fire attacks, and lightning attacks. There's the poise, which means how much damage you can take without staggering, your bleeding resistance, your poison resistance, your curse resistance, and the chances of you finding an item on a dead enemy, and how many spells you can equip there. So this is the hit points you have, the attunement slots you have, how much stamina you have, this for strength weapons, for dexterity weapons. That's a pretty much useless stat whenever you really use it. And for sorceries and then miracles, that's how much humanity you have. We'll talk about that more later, as I said earlier. So let's just go ahead and put 1 point into dexterity and 2 points into strength, because we will be using heavier weapons, but it will be necessary to have around 12 to use most of them. So now let's go get some of those heavy weapons. First thing you're going to want to do is take off everything but your pants. So as you can see, we can now run much faster, and we can do rolls as well. And we can do much faster rolls. This allows us to evade enemies much more effectively, and leaving the pants on means we can actually resist some of their damage, so if we get hit, we're not automatically dead. So yeah, let's go ahead and run down there. This giant skeleton is guarding a spear, and I'm pretty sure that's the weapon we'll be using until we can use the greatsword that we're about to grab here. That weapon is pretty much the most powerful in the game. Well, does the most damage from what I can tell, so. Yeah, in suicide runs you most often end up dying, hence the name. So generally, it's not a good idea to bring along like 10 humanities and 1,000 souls or something. So now we're going to show you these weapons. As you can see on the left, those are the damage stats. The parameter bonuses determine how much you add to that depending on how high your stat is. The higher the letter, higher the stat, the more damage you do. And the required parameters is how much of that specific stat you need to actually use the weapon. Same for the winged spear, although we have less dexterity than we need, and it's more of a dex weapon. That's a shield. On the right you can see the resistances, and the stability, which is the most important stat, basically determines how much damage you can take without getting like staggered. We'll talk about those more later when I actually get a good shield I can compare to. This is a Firekeeper. She can't speak right now, but when you give her a Firekeeper soul, she buffs up your Estus flask to +1, making it heal more health than it normally did. So let's run down here to this secret little elevator and step on the pressure pad and get going down. This leads directly to New Londo Ruins, a flooded city where no one lives anymore but ghosts and the dark wraiths. Yeah, those guys are pretty scary, but we'll talk about them more later when we actually encounter them. First things first, let's run this way a bit. You might notice all the hollows here, they just don't want to attack you for some reason, so you can just go ahead and get rid of them. That is an S-Stock. It is a new weapon we can actually use, but it does much less damage and has pretty much red across the board, which means we're not going to use it right now because the broadsword does way more damage. Well, not way more, but enough so that it's considerable. So now we're going to go talk to the guy who sells you sorceries. He's also a blacksmith, which is kind of odd, but he's there. So we haven't lost our head. He's stuck in his cage, but he doesn't really want to be free because that would mean he'd go hollow. So he's Rickard of Vinhelm. He's once an established smith and also a sorcerer. He doesn't tell you that, but from what I can tell. So he's stuck in the cage. So go ahead and talk to him again. So he doesn't want to escape, really. He has no intention of escape. But apparently it's safe in there, so he doesn't want to go hollow. So he doesn't have much to do though, so he's gonna pull out his old smithing tools and forge your weapons, and also sell you some sorceries while he's at it. Apparently he was the best, so that's nice. So you can modify your equipment. That basically means like ascend it to a special type. Either you can upgrade your weapons with titaniite shards. You can upgrade your armor with the same thing. You can repair your armor, which we're going to do with our 20 souls we have lying around here. If it breaks, you can't really use it anymore. And here he says there's some sorceries, and a catalyst for sorceries as well. So, most NPCs you can talk to them, but it's not really terribly important. So he's saying, is being undead really bad? Oh, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. Yeah. A lot of the NPCs have interesting little tidbits going on, but half of them are going crazy and the other half want to kill you. So yeah, if you don't have the master key, just go ahead and skip the rest of this video. We'll be traipsing through this area, which requires you to have the master key. So let's just go ahead and run down to the spot where we can get fancy new shield and a sword for faith users. So you might see that big lump of stuff over there. That is an undead dragon. And don't worry, it's sleeping right now, but once we grab the items we're going to grab, it's going to wake up. And it's going to kill you in one hit. Right, here we go. Store a straight sword for faith users. And we are not quite dead yet. And then he hits us again. Yeah, this is a guy you do not want to fight head on. So this area is actually not required at all. So you don't really ever have to come back here. So now we're going to talk about shields. The Dragon Crest shield, it has less stability, but it has a much higher fire resistance, which is very important when you're fighting the fire bombers in the next area. But the damage is not important at all for shields, so we're just going to go ahead and use it. In case you're wondering about that little jump there, I edited out a large portion of me doing a failed suicide run into Blighttown to grab the Crimson set. So we're actually going to go do that now. So yeah, that's don't jump down there. You want to pull this lever first and wait. This is a pretty long elevator, but you're gonna have to be patient. And here we go. So let's run back down to Blighttown. That is one of the areas where where one of the bells is, but it's also the site. The entire floor of it poisons you as you go, so it's not very smart to go adventuring there in your early areas. You're gonna want a few levels on you before you start going. Let's just go ahead and run down there. Of course, it's past the bridge. Head to the right this time. Now, these enemies might seem scary and hard at first, but they're ridiculously easy to backstab, so... But don't worry about it. If you're feeling especially gutsy, you can try it, but I don't think it'll be worth it. Just go ahead and keep dashing. If you feel like you're gonna get hit like there, you can go ahead and do a couple rolls. So poison, as you can see, steadily drains your health away. This is not something you want sticking on you, but for now we don't have anything to cure it, so I'm just gonna take a swig off my Estus flask and keep moving and hope it doesn't kill me. So, yeah, just try and follow the route. It's kind of hard at first. I was just going down, down, down. And that's pretty much all you have to do as well. So, this area leads down and keeps going down. Now, one of those guys fell off the cliff, so I get the souls for it, funnily enough. So I now have 500 souls sitting in my inventory, but I'm not planning to keep those. So take a swig of your Estus flask again and roll past this guy. This is the spot where I died earlier, so you gotta be a little careful on this bit. Just be careful on the branches. They're quite thin and you can fall off pretty easily. So run past this guy again. And up on this corpse is the Crimson set and a catalyst. And in here is a fancy sorcery that cures poison. How about that? So we're just gonna go ahead and run back here. And we're actually just gonna jump off the edge because dying in suicide runs gets you right back to your last checkpoint, and it doesn't really matter how many souls you have either. So now we have a new set of armor that is lighter, and some of it's actually more defensive, so we're going to compare it to the knight set for you. Now you can see some of the stats are blue, but most of it isn't, but it weighs a lot less, so we're going to go ahead and wear it, so that means we can roll a bit. As you can see, there's a few more blue spots, and it definitely weighs way less. This is a few less blue spots, but it of course weighs less. Now this is ridiculously overpowered leggings, so we're just going to go ahead and wear them. And we look pretty cool too. And now we can do a mid-roll wearing a full set of armor, which is pretty effective. So that was a tin banishment catalyst. It's a catalyst that can also be used as a weapon. So I think that's about it for today. I have a few more things to show you in my next video, but